My mother, by the way, finally cured that in his 7th year because my Aunt Glenn gave him for his birthday one of these little kid books, you know, that are made out of oilcloth. You can throw up on them, and you can do other things we can't even mention on a stage. You can do it on them, you know, and it doesn't matter. You just wrench them off. And it was about the 3 little pigs. You remember the 3 little pigs? Had this house made out of brick. One guy had a house made out of straw. That really caught my kid brother. So one day he's playing with his food, messing around. The old man is getting mad. The old man used to sit there and he'd say, "Are you going to eat?" My kid brother Randy's art form was the whine. Oh, God. He could make his nose run at will. Every time I think of my kid brother, I always think of him as about 2 feet behind me and to my left. There he is. My mother used to say, "Take him with you." I took him on dates. Yeah, I'd go to the Orpheum with this girl, and I'm sitting there with my arm around her, and his nose is running on my sport coat. He'd sit behind me. I remember that scene so clear. My mother hanging over the sink. It's hot. The old man's had his first beer. The salmon salad is waiting to be served. We had this green dish, green glass in the shape of Shirley Temple. Worth a fortune now. Cost my mother 35 cents at the Orpheum for a ticket. Got a green glass in the shape of Shirley Temple. And by the way, the salad was right there where her gut would be. Looked a little obscene. Wonder how many guys were sexually traumatized by dishes. Like you drink your glass of milk, and at the bottom, looking up at you, is little Orphan Annie. And it's got cocoa malt in it. I remember for years I wanted to get cocoa malt because there was a show on the radio that, you know, sponsored by cocoa malt, and the announcer kept saying stuff like, "It's rich, creamy, chocolatey, delicious goodness. Makes milk taste like a luscious malted milk." And I kept after my mother. "I want cocoa malt, Mom." She says, "Isn't milk good enough for you?" "I want cocoa malt." She says, "All right." 2 weeks of constant nudging. And she finally said, "I'll get your cocoa malt. Just shut up. But you've got to drink it all." Little did I realize what that meant. The first night I sat down with my glass of milk and I took the cocoa malt and put the big heaping teaspoon of cocoa malt into the glass. And you know the way it just makes a rich, delicious malted milk. All these little brown BBs sank to the bottom. There's nothing but BBs in the bottom of the milk. So I stirred it up, I put some more and more BBs. I said, "Well, I guess it must taste like a rich chocolatey malted milk." I took a sip. It tasted like fermented milk of magnesia. My mother says, "You're going to drink all of it. You're going to have cocoa malt every night." And for 2 months, I drank cocoa malt. It clogged my system, made my teeth brown. I got so I actually kind of liked the taste of milk of magnesia. Now I mix a little vodka with it, you know. A little twist of lime. Not bad. My mother's sitting there. And then the sink would do it. On a hot night. We had a sink that on nights like this, immediately following supper at 6:15, the sink would go. My mother would leap up with her Brillo pad. She was a true Midwestern mother. If there was a coat of arms for Midwestern mothers, there would be a field of Brillo pads and a crossed pair of plumber's helpers. My mother believed, like all ladies of her time, that she could Brillo pad away all of the world's sin. If she could get the ultimate Brillo pad, everything would be great. If you were clean, everything's fine. Everybody's had this thing where the mother says, change your underwear. You might get hit by that Mack truck. Can't you just see the scene, you know, with bang, a truck hits you and you're up in the air? 5 minutes later, the surgeon is looking down. He says, look at that underwear. Take him out. I won't. That's a sickening kid. Get him out of here. What kind of mother does he have? I remember my mother hanging over the sink, and at first it would do it. It had a regular routine. The first one would go, and she'd get ready. There would be 2 beats. 1, 2. The old man would look up from his next beer. My kid brother had stopped playing with the peas, and the sink would then go. That was the second one. It was the third one. 3 beats later. 1, 2, 3. Up would come a half a pound of Mrs. Bruner's coffee grounds next door. We traded coffee grounds with the Bruners. Would come out of our sink. My mother would stick some down in hers and flush it. You'd see it fly up in the Bruner's sink. You could see it. I'll never forget the time when it started to work with the John 2. Yeah, everybody was in bed, you know. All of a sudden, our John, all by itself, went boom. We got everything that the Bruners had collected at a picnic. Sickening. Life is real, life is earnest. But there was one moment of joy. On a hot summer night, one of the big things that the old man loved to do, and I bet you've had this in your own family, he would come running home. He's in a good mood tonight, you know, one of those nights. He says, how is everybody? Hey, everybody okay? Come on, let's get cracking here. It's a beautiful night. The blast furnace is going away. He says, I'll tell you what let's do tonight. How about it? How about this, kids? After supper, if you eat your supper, I will take the whole family out for ice cream. How many of you had that scene in your life? Oh, wow, you know, the kid brother, oh, wow. He ate the damn peas. He ate the meatloaf. He even ate turnips. That is duty. That's way above the call of duty. After supper, we go out the back, and there's the Oldsmobile. By the way, our Oldsmobile was maybe fourth hand. Had a little split there where the window was cracked from some ancient driver who owned it. How many of you ever had a used car in your family? Well, almost every car you buy today, 5 minutes after you got it, it's a used car. That's right. But I mean a really used car where every time you clean it or you brush out the floorboards, other stuff shows up. Under the seat. You wonder, what the hell kind of life would they live? Who was this? Boy, I'll never forget the time one night my kid brother pulled something out of the back seat, was stuck down in between the door rest, pulled it out, the old man took one look. Kid brother says, "What's this?" Now, for those of you in the crowd who have to ask, what's he talking about? I can only say you got a lot to learn about life, or let's say the lack of it. Well, that got him in the back there. Wonder what's going on back there, out there in the darkness. Anyway, we get the Oldsmobile. The old man backs out of the driveway, turns the car, heads it down into the main stem there. And it was this place that we always went to called the Igloo. That's a Midwestern Dairy Queen. It was the Igloo. And being a very clever crowd, they had a big plastic igloo on the top. It says Igloo. By the way, they spelled it with a U. That's Indiana cleverness, Igloo. Looked like the name of a very, very esoteric union. International Gumpox Leaveners Union. Igloo. Big black letters up there. And we would drive down to the Igloo, see? And that was a big moment in our life. As we get close to the Igloo, there's a lot of arguments in the car, you know, what we're going to get tonight. My mother was she was always saying, but strawberries, my favorite. Mothers eat vanilla. They really like it. Mothers also eat Jell-O. There's never been a normal person who liked Jell-O. Mothers keep thinking other people do. But actually, it's only mothers who eat Jell-O, especially with canned peaches in it. Now, there's a treat for you, right, gang? Oh, that's really a big night, you know. Once in a while, canned pineapple. I mean, that's on a holiday. And so we're going down to get the ice cream at Igloo, and they had 500 flavors. They had everything. Boy, the Midwest really went for flavors. I mean, watermelon grape. I'm not kidding you. There was a watermelon grape ice cream. It tasted like watermelon grape. Cornflake ice cream. Yeah, you get cornflake, grape nuts ice cream. You ever have it? Grape nuts, cornflakes. Alka-Seltzer ice cream. They had all these flavors. Everybody loved those fantastic flavors. Great flavors. Root beer. They had have you ever had Coca-Cola flavored ice cream? There is such a thing. It's terrible. But so we'd go down to the ice cream place, and Mr. Ferguson was in charge of the Igloo. Now, I knew his kid, Johnny Ferguson, and that was a magical kid. His father owned the Igloo. And all these guys that worked there, you know, they got these white coats. They had hats. By the way, the hats were rounded on the top like a little igloo. These guys looked like a Korean combat team. Got little white hats. And they had all these canisters of ice cream back here, thousands of them. And, of course, on a hot night like this, there'd be maybe 50 people waiting for ice cream cones. They made these fantastic ones. 3-ball, 2, 5. You could get a 6-ball ice cream cone. Came in a shoulder holster. 'Cause